All right. So let's go ahead and get situated so we can kind of check in. Just come to an easy cross-legged position, whatever works for you. Your legs can also be extended if that's better for you, or you can sit on a chair to start with. We just kind of want to check in and see how everything's feeling. So just take a big inhale through your nose, big exhale through the mouth. Close your eyes. Just kind of take a moment and feel into your body. Notice everything you're feeling. Start to breathe a little deeper and a little slower. So always, I recommend Ujjayi breathing if you can, but if you're suffering from allergies, you're not comfortable with that breath, just do nice, deep, slow breaths. And then let's just check in with our thought processes, our emotions, our energy, and even how connected we feel. And then we'll bring our palms together in front of our hearts and just take a moment to set our personal intentions. And so as you get your intentions set and you're very clear on that, just take another deep breath in. And then exhale through your mouth. And completely get yourself set for your practice. So your intention is set. You've checked in with your body. Your emphasis for today's practice is hamstrings. I'm warning you in advance. However, we'll be easing into it gently. So let's go ahead and move on to hands and knees if you can, and we'll begin some cat-cow stretches. So just loosening up the spine a little bit, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling to arch and exhaling to round. And then we'll go ahead and take our first child's pose. So take your backside to your heels, forehead down. And then scoot forward into Sphinx and lengthen your spine a little bit. So pull the chest forward. Make sure your glutes are relaxed. So anytime we lengthen the low back, that helps release through the glutes. And when we release through the glutes, then we have the capacity to release through our hamstrings. So take your first downward facing dog. Feel free to wiggle a little bit if you need to. And then once you do find stillness, I want you to focus on the back of your legs. And in order to get into that, you've got to reach those hips way up and back and press your heels down. Don't neglect either of those parts. Hips reach up and back, heels press down. Take one more breath. And then walk your feet forward. Keep your knees bent and just hang in ragdoll. And I want you to take a couple of breaths there, just letting your spine lengthen. And then on your next inhale, come all the way up, reach the arms up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of your heart. Inhale, reach your arms up, stretch up. And then as you exhale, go ahead and fold forward. So we've talked about forward bends before. We're going to do it again. So I want you to bend your knees a little bit. Let your torso find your thighs. Now this is different for everyone. Some of you might need to bend really deep. Some of you might just have a little bit of a bend. Some of us are in between. But you really want some contact between the torso and the thighs. And then you want to imagine that your tailbone is starting to poke up towards the ceiling. That's lengthening those hamstrings, but keeping your spine relatively neutral. Take one more breath here. And then go ahead and inhale up halfway and then all the way back down. So we're going to step back with our left foot. Nice big step back. Just find your lunge for a couple of breaths. You're going to drop your left knee down. Extend your right leg. Flex the ankle and toes if you can. We're just lengthening out through that right hamstring. This is your first little foray into it. So be sensitive. You want to feel a stretch, but don't go for the gold yet. You've got the whole practice. From here, we'll go ahead and bend the right knee. Bring the arms up and overhead. Tilt the pelvis. Let the hips sink forward. And then bring both hands down inside your right foot. See if you can scoot your right foot farther forward. Just trust me on this. And then maybe come down onto your left forearm. You might be on a block. That's okay too. See what it feels like. Take a couple of breaths here. And the reason I had you scoot your foot forward is we want you to really be able to hug the knee in. So we're not trying to get into the hips here. We're really trying to get into your right hamstring. Take one more breath. And then from here, just take your right knee back to meet your left knee. Wag your tail if that's what you want to do. And then those of you doing vinyasas, you're welcome to start taking them. Everybody else can take a child's pose. And then scoot forward into Sphinx. You're also welcome to do Cobra, by the way. And then downward facing dog. Every time we come to our down dog, I'm going to remind you to not just hang out here and not keep all the weight on the hands, but to push. Reach back with your tailbone. Reach down with your heels. And then step forward with your left foot. So you're just holding your lunge here for a couple of breaths. Drop down to that right knee. Extend your left leg. Flex the ankle and toes. Lengthen the spine. Stretching out left hamstring. And then we'll bend the left knee, bring the arms up and overhead, pelvis tilts, hips move forward. Then bring both of your hands down inside your left foot. See if you can scoot your left foot forward. And then come on to your right forearm or a block if possible. Maybe the left one. Remember, what we're looking for here is sensation, in this case, in your left hamstring. Then from here, go ahead and come to your standing forward bend. Remember what that means. Don't just zone out and have a rounded back. I want you to be hinging at your hips, right? So a lot of people, their legs will be straight and they'll have their hands on the floor, but they have a really rounded back, like what you see me doing here, and all this space between their body and their thighs. A much better forward bend is to bend the knees and let the torso find the thighs. And then you get a lot more out of it, and it's a healthier version. So make sure you're doing your forward bend correctly today. And then take a big inhale. Reach the arms up and overhead. And exhale, bring your palms together. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, look up halfway. And exhale back down. So this time you're going to step back with your right leg. And if you need to, you may always drop the back knee down. But if you can, I'd like you to gaze forward and just begin to straighten your left leg. It doesn't matter if it goes all the way straight. You're trying to get deeper now into your left hamstring. One more breath. If you can, you're going to bend your left knee again. Bring the arms up and overhead and let the hips sink. And then we'll take both hands down inside the left foot. And yet again, I'm actually going to ask you to scoot your left foot forward. Just see if your body will allow it. If it doesn't, please don't push yourself harder than you should. You can, of course, drop your right knee down, but maybe come onto the right forearm, maybe the left one. Just see what happens. And then go ahead and either step back to plank if you're taking a vinyasa, or drop to your knees and move into child's pose. From your child's pose, you'll scoot forward into Sphinx. And then we'll all meet up in downward facing dog, where, of course, we're going to push our tailbones back and our heels down. Big step forward with your right foot. Remember, you may always modify by dropping your back knee, but if you can, I want you to just extend your right leg while you gaze forward. So just trying to get a little deeper into that right hamstring. And then we're going to bend the right knee. Bring the arms up and overhead. Modify if you need to. Both hands come down inside the right foot. Scoot your right foot forward if you can. Remember, you may drop your back knee if you need to. Maybe coming onto the left forearm, maybe both, maybe a block, maybe neither, maybe none of that. Maybe you're telling me no, and that's a good thing too. And then from here, we'll come back to our standing forward bend, doing it properly, hinging at the hips, slight bend in the knees, torso to the thighs, and then inhale, reach your arms up, and exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway, and then all the way back down. So we're going to step back with the left foot, spin the heel flat. Maybe adjust the width of your feet because I'd like you to come up into warrior one. So you guys have heard me talk about it enough. Your hips should be rotated forward as much as possible for you. And just take a couple of breaths and find the right alignment here. And then bring your hands behind your back. So you're going to squeeze your shoulder blades together. And I want you to begin to straighten your right leg. Lift the arms. Lengthen your torso out over your right leg. Take a few breaths, take your time. And so the idea here is this is a really active stretch, not a passive one. Our right leg is very engaged right now. Release your hands down so that your left hand can find your right shin, your right foot, or a block, and then put your right hand at your waist. Start to twist and revolve to your right. If you feel like your shoulders are vertically stacked, float the right hand up, revolve triangle. Bring your right hand down, step forward to a standing forward bend, paying particular attention to hinge at the hips. And then pause right here and notice right hamstring should already feel a little different from the left. Inhale all the way back up. And exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Inhale up. Exhale, fold forward. This time you're going to step back with your right foot. Spin the heel flat, adjust the width of your feet if you need to, and come up into a left foot forward, warrior one. Just take a moment and find your alignment. Interlace your fingers behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Begin to straighten your left leg. Lift the arms. Lengthen your torso out over your left leg. Take your time. You can breathe your way out. And then release the arms so that your right hand can find either your left shin, your left foot, or the floor outside of it. Put your left hand at your waist. Keep your spine long. Start to revolve or twist to your left. And then if you feel like you can take that left hand up towards the ceiling. Bring your left hand back down, and this time step back, downward facing dog. Reach the hips back, reach the heels down. Push your heels down and push with your hands. And then just slowly walk your feet forward to a standing forward bend. And I know I don't have to tell you to do your standing forward bend correctly, but while you're here, play with this idea. Maybe put your hands on your heels or your calves, depending upon what you can reach, and pull your torso to your thighs. Point your tailbone towards the ceiling. And then on your next inhale, come all the way up. Arms reach up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Okay, so for our balance, we're going to be extending a leg. We're going to do this twice. The first time we're just going to put it in front of us. The second time we're going to take it out to the side. If you have a strap and you would like to use it, you're welcome to, but you don't have to. It's completely up to you. So we're going to stand on the right foot first, and depending upon your flexibility and whether or not you have a strap, you're either going to grab behind your left thigh, behind your left calf, or your left foot, because your left leg needs to be straight. You can also loop it with a strap. And then just stand up. I'd like you to hang on with both hands if possible. Keep your heart lifted. Try and keep your legs straight and keep breathing. Release your left foot down. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you're going to stand on your left foot. And again, it doesn't matter. I mean, maybe you're hanging onto your pants and your leg is straight. That's fine. Or you can hang on behind your thigh or your calf or your foot. Or you can loop your right foot with a strap. But the idea is that your right leg should be straight. Chest is lifted. You're breathing. And release, right foot back down. All right, so that was kind of your warm up. Because we're going to do it again. And as I said, we're going to have the leg up and then we'll be taking it out to the side and bringing it back in. If you have to hang on to something, you will have your opposite hand out to the side. So I'm kind of giving you a little advance warning. If you want to hang onto a wall or something, you can. Here's what we're going to do. Stand on the right foot. Start the same way you did before. Left thigh, calf, foot, or strap in both hands. Left leg is extended. Then go ahead and reach that right arm out to the right. As much as possible, take your left leg to the left. Bring the leg back in and release it. All right, we're going to do the other side. Standing on your left foot. Begin by grabbing thigh, calf, or foot with both hands. Remember, it's fine to use a strap if you like. Hold it for another breath, and then take your left arm out to the left. Begin to take your right leg out to the right. Bring your leg back in and release it down. Good. So while you're already standing up, just turn sideways on your mat. Take a big wide side step. Toes point directly forward. If you can, you'll keep your legs straight, but if you need to bend the knees a little bit, that's fine. We're going to hinge at the hips again. You can either just grab your elbows or let your hands find the floor. I want you to just hang for a moment. And so the idea is, since you hinge at the hips, imagine once you're down and relaxed that your tailbone's poking up towards the ceiling again. And then go ahead and walk both of your hands over towards your right foot. If you can actually touch the foot, awesome. If not, no worries. Try and keep the legs straight and align your spine over your right leg. So you should feel this as a hamstring stretch and also a little bit in the inner thigh. And then walk your hands over to your left foot and stretch. Come back to the center. Start walking your feet in until they're about shoulder width or hip width. So not that far. You know, maybe if you really spread the fingers of one hand, maybe the distance between the thumb tip and the little fingertip. So not a lot. And then what I'd like you to do is literally stand in your hands, and you want your hands to go from the toes back towards the heels, palms up. So if your fingertips are touching your toe tips, you lift your toes and you slide your hand underneath each foot. The ball of your foot should be in the palm of your hand. Your toes are touching your wrists. Your fingertips are touching your heels, and you relax your neck. If you can, you start to straighten your legs. Some of you will get your legs straight, which means you get to start bending your arms to kind of pull. And you should get not only another hamstring stretch, but a little bit of a calf stretch too. Take one more breath here. Release your hands out. Big inhale, reach the arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, come back to the front of the mat with the feet together and the hands together. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway and lengthen. And then back down. We're going to step back with the left foot. Go ahead and drop onto the left knee. And I want you to scoot your right foot pretty far forward. Try and get your right leg straight. And then we're just going to play with getting our maximum hamstring stretch. So you're going to inhale and flex your right foot, and then exhale and point the right foot. Slide the heel out a little more if you can. Inhale to flex. Try and keep your right leg straight. Exhale to point. Maybe extend it a little farther. This is the last one. Inhale to flex, exhale to point, and then hold that for 2 more breaths. If you're fairly deep into this, the easiest way to come out is to bring your right hand inside your right leg and just swing it back, because we're going to take a downward facing dog in between. So come into down dog, spread your hands, reach your tailbone back, press your heels down. And then we're doing the other side. Take a big step forward with your left foot. Drop onto your right knee. Go ahead and slide your left foot forward as much as you can. And then we begin the breathing and the flexing. So here you go. You inhale and flex your left foot. You exhale and point it. Maybe slide it out a little more. Inhale to flex. Exhale to point. Maybe slide it one more time. Inhale to flex. Exhale to point. And then you hold for another couple of breaths. Again, easiest way to get out of it is to bring your left hand inside the left leg and take your left leg back, going straight into downward facing dog, pressing your hips up and back. Stretch. For those of you doing vinyasas, you'll shift into plank and take your final one. The rest of you guys are going to drop to your knees, move into child's pose. And then we'll scoot forward into Sphinx. Lengthen. And then downward facing dog. So this last down dog, really maximize your hamstring stretch along with your spine lengthening. Palms are spread and they're flat. You're pushing through your hands so that your pelvis is reaching up and back, and then you're really pressing your heels down. Then you can walk your feet forward. Have a seat with your legs extended. We're just going to kind of check in with our bodies in Dandasana. So find that nice straight spine. Your hands can be behind you or not, but you want your spine straight, your head's balanced on top of your spine, your legs are very active. Just check in for a moment with your body, your breath, your mind, your heart, your energy, your intention. And then we're going to do our seated forward bend, kind of like we did our standing one. I want you to actually bend your knees a little bit. Even if you're very flexible, just humor me. And then kind of tip your pelvis forward. Get your belly onto your thighs, whatever that takes. And then reach down and maybe get the outside edges of the feet because your knees are bent, right? Keep your torso touching your thighs and begin to scooch your legs back out. Maybe they go straight and you're still touching the thighs. Maybe you have to stop with a little bit of a bend in the knees. Either way, if you still have your chest lifted, you should be feeling this in those hammies. So we'll take a couple of extra breaths here. And then come on up from that. Keep your right leg straight. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh and just lean out over your right leg. And then just like we did when we were standing, we're going to keep our right leg straight. So it doesn't matter what you're grabbing. It can be your thigh, your calf, your foot, or your pants. But I want you to bring your right leg up in the air, nice and straight. Lift your chest so your spine is straight. And then if you need to, you can pull the leg towards you, but it's not necessary. As long as you're feeling a hamstring stretch, that's all we're looking for. Nice straight spine. So this is Dandasana, heron pose. And then I want you to keep your left hand wherever it is and bring your right hand onto the mat behind you. Keep the chest lifted and maybe lift the leg a little higher. You'll notice this is similar to a revolved triangle, right? And then we're just going to let the right leg go back down onto the ground. Simply pick your left knee up, left hand behind you, and twist to your left. So you can either hug your left knee with your right arm, or you can bring your right arm outside of left knee or thigh. Twist to look over your left shoulder. Rotate back around. Let your left knee drop open again. Bring your right foot up to meet your left foot. And then hands are behind you, chest is lifted, knees are pressing out to the side and down towards the floor. Keep your right knee bent. Extend your left leg out onto the ground. Right foot can just snug to the inside of the left thigh. Lean out over your left leg. And then hands can be on the thigh, the calf, the foot, wherever you need them to be. Again, we're going to pick the left leg up. Try and keep it really straight. Lift your chest. If you need to, you can pull the leg towards you. Maybe you don't need to. And then keep your right hand on your left foot. Bring your left hand behind you. Lift the chest a little more. Kind of twist and look over left shoulder. If you need to, you can pull your left leg a little farther in. Remember, it's all about sensation in the hamstring. And then we're just going to put the left leg back down. Pick your right knee up. And right hand behind you for your twist. So you can either hug the right knee or bring that left elbow outside of it. Go ahead and let your right knee drop open again. Left foot meets right foot, but we slide them out in front of us this time. Clasp the ankles and gently nestle your rib cage down between your thighs. Come on up from that. Extend your legs out. Give them a good wiggle. And then take them wide. So we're coming into that nice wide angled seated forward bend. Same thing that we did when we were standing. We want to hinge from the hips. So if you can, legs are active, toes point up. You try and keep the spine straight. So we don't want to round. We want to lengthen forward. And just breathe. Keep the legs active. Let your breath carry you down. Couple more breaths. And keep your legs wide, but come back up. So just like we did when we were in our standing forward bend, we kind of took our body over one leg. We're going to do the same thing here. I want you to rotate and bring your right hand behind you. Your right leg is kind of now in front of you because you've rotated to the right. Left leg that's back here is still active though. I want you to just hinge at your hips, pushing your chest forward over your right leg. If you've got your right foot flexed and your spine lengthening, you should be feeling this in your right hamstring. Come on up and we'll switch. Left hand is behind you, right hand is in the center, the spine lengthens, both legs are active, and you're lengthening out over your left thigh. Come back up. You can use your hands to help your legs back together. Give them a good wiggle. And then just like that, yay, hooray, you get to roll onto your back, hug your knees in, and rock side to side. And so first, you're just going to keep your right knee hugged in. Extend the left leg all the way out onto the ground. And then if you can, reach down, find the inside of the arch of your right foot, try and get your lower leg vertical and pull straight down. So it's just the right half of dead bug. If you're doing this properly, your right hamstring is where you're feeling it. Take a couple breaths. And then I want you to extend your right leg as straight up as you can. Now, it may not be straight up. It might be like pointing more towards your foot, other foot, and that's fine. But try and get the leg straight. And then grab whatever you comfortably can. Gently pull it towards you for a really nice hamstring stretch yet again. And then grab with just your left hand, open your right arm out to the right and start to bring that very straight right leg across your body. Again, it's kind of like a revolved triangle. Come all the way back up, hug your right knee in, give it a good squeeze. And then we're going to transition this into just a gentle twist. So you're just twisting over to your left, your right arm is opening out to the right. It doesn't matter if your shoulder blade is on the floor or not. It doesn't matter if your right knee is on the floor or not. None of that matters. You're just kind of decompressing. So let your head turn to the right. And then just really relax into this twist on your right side. On your next inhale, come on up. And as you exhale, hug that right knee one more time. Bring your left knee up to meet it, rock side to side if you want to. And then we'll keep the left knee hugged in and extend the right leg all the way out onto the floor. Find the inside of the left arch of your foot with your left hand. Try and get your lower leg vertical and then pull straight down for the left half of your dead bug. So again, if you're doing this right, your left hammy is where you're feeling it. And then go ahead and extend your left leg fully. Maybe it's up, maybe it's out, doesn't matter. Straight leg. Grab whatever you can and begin to pull that leg towards you for a slightly deeper hamstring stretch. And then keep your right hand on your left leg. Try and keep it straight. Left arm out to the left. You're going to bring the left leg over to the right. So again, it's like that revolved triangle, except now you're on your back, so it's a little easier. It should be no less intense, however. You should be feeling this in the back of your left thigh. Coming back up, hug your left knee in, big squeeze. And then we just transition it into an easy twist. You're just going to bring your left leg across your body. Open your right arm out to the right. Relax into your twist. Let your head turn to the left. So this gentle left side stretch is just kind of unwinding from a lot of the stuff you've already done. On your next inhale, come on back up. Hug your left knee in, bring your right knee up to meet it. Give yourself a nice side to side rock. And then we're going to do our final forward bend, which you're going to do on your back. And I want it to be like the standing one that we did and even the seated one. So both of your legs are up in the air, but you're going to have a bend in the knees. Try and get your thighs now to come to your torso. Maybe you can slide your hands out to your heels or your feet. Keep your thighs touching your stomach and begin to straighten the legs. You'll know when you're doing it right because you'll certainly feel this in your hamstrings. Take 2 more breaths. And then we're going to release. We're going to put our feet on the mat into position for bridge pose because it's a perfect counter pose to everything we've been doing. It makes the quads really open and your hamstrings, the back of the thighs, are really tightening and contracting. So this is a counter pose to all the stretching you did earlier. So it is important today that your big toes touch and your heels are separated. And then I want you to actually tilt your pelvis back, which means take the curve out of the spine and then start lifting your hips. So it's like you're lifting your hips with your tailbone tucked under. Lift as high as you can, push through your heels, but I really want you to feel the backs of the thighs tightening to press those hips up. Two more breaths, you guys. Squeeze your glutes, tighten those hammies. And then slowly lower down, hug your knees into your chest, rock side to side. And then we're going to put the feet flat outside the edges of the mat. And this is going to be moving, so we're not going to be holding this. Just breathe really slow. Breath-centered movement is kind of called windshield wipers, right? So you're going to exhale. Both knees are going to drop to one side. You're going to inhale the legs back up, and as you exhale, drop them the other way. So you've got that nice wide stance. So what should happen is every time you exhale, the knees are dropping in one direction. The inside outer hip should be getting a little stretch. We'll go a couple more times in each direction. So that's 4 more full breaths. When you're finished or feel like you're even, keep your feet wide. Prop your knees together for a moment. And then go ahead and hug your knees in, rock side to side, and then reach down and grab the outside edges of your feet for happy baby. So you've already done a whole lot of hamstring stuff, which should feel pretty good. So go ahead and wiggle around, see how those hammies feel. And then when you're ready, bring your feet back to the mat. This time, ankles and knees are together for that little breath-centered hip roll. So you exhale, both knees drop. Same breath-centered movement, but now that your feet are together, your hips should be rolling in time to your breathing. And this can be a tiny movement, or it can be a full-on twist, or anything in between. You can vary it breath to breath. It's your movement. But the idea is just this gentle, continuous rolling, slow rolling of the hips. And then when you feel like you're ready or you're even, soles of the feet together, knees dropping open, we lengthen the low back by pressing it into the floor. So it's kind of like you're trying to push your navel down towards your spine, or take the curve out of your spine, or eliminate any space between you and the mat. And then exhale and release. So that curve comes back into your spine when you relax. One more time, inhale, flatten out your back, press it down, exhale and release, and begin to extend your legs. Separate the feet. And that can be a little or a lot. You might want to wiggle your legs to make sure those hammies are totally settled. Relax your backside, lengthen your spine, relax your shoulders, let your hands be palms up below your shoulders. Have a little space between your teeth so that your jaw is relaxed. Close your eyes. Take an extra deep breath in. And a big exhale. Just allow your body to find its complete relaxation here. And as your body is relaxing, start feeling your breath get softer and shallower. And today we're going to work with being breathed, which requires that you shift your perception of your breath. So rather than you drawing air into your lungs and pushing it back out, which is very active and participatory, you simply receive each breath that's pushed into your lungs and then drawn back out by the world around you, which is a very passive, receptive way of being. You're breathing even though you're not having any input, and your breath does in fact continue. What if, rather than thinking that you're controlling that and bringing breath in and out of your body, What if this atmosphere outside of you is giving you each breath and taking back the carbon dioxide and then giving you another inhale, taking back the next exhale? What if you could simply lie there and just receive each breath as the gift that it is? So it's obviously very physically relaxing to just receive breath. But how does it feel to you on a mental and emotional level to know that you are being given these breaths because the world wants you alive? The world needs your unique gifts. Each breath is pushed into your lungs so that you can be here to share what you have. How does that feel? To be so loved by creation. And then finally, just notice energetically how it feels to be sharing breath with every other breathing creature on the planet. The same air that's being pushed into you and drawn back out is being pushed into everyone's lungs and being drawn back out. The trees are recycling our air for us, taking in our carbon dioxide and putting out fresh oxygen. And those breaths are given to our lungs and pulled back out. And so how does it feel to know that you're literally sharing air, sharing breath with everything that respires, with everything that breathes? How connected does that make you feel? So the physical relaxation of having your breath given to you, the mental, emotional ramifications of being loved so much by the world that you're being fed breaths to keep you here, and the more spiritual connection of being connected to every other breathing thing. Keep those effects as you start to move your fingers and toes a little bit and allow deeper breaths to come. And then take an even deeper breath in. Spread your fingers and toes. Exhale and relax them. Even deeper breath in. Stretch and exhale and relax. Either hugging the knees in or just bending your knees to get your back flat. Go ahead and roll to your right and then press yourself up into sitting. So as you come to your seated position, make sure you have a nice straight spine. Tonight is the big lunar event. So it's a full moon and it's also an almost full lunar eclipse here in Texas. I think it starts right after midnight and should go until I think the peak is at 3 a.m. So it's mostly visible if we have clear skies. But what that basically means is that we have exceptionally high lunar energy tonight. So the full moon is enough, but you throw in a full lunar eclipse and it's just off the charts exponentially. So we do the most solar breath that we can for balance. Now, I'm going to offer you some options because everybody's a little bit different. So two of the best solar breaths that you can do, one is Kapalabhati breath, that forceful pumping breath. I believe we did that on Monday. And then the other one would be a right nostril breath, inhaling and exhaling through the right nostril, Surya Vedana. For those of you who have been practicing breath work for a long time, if you feel like you can, the most solar breath that you could do would be a right nostril Kapalabhati. So you're doing that real forceful pumping just through your right nostril. You might have to go a little slower, and that's just an option. So I know if you've got allergies, you may not even be able to breathe through your right nostril. So I understand all of that. And with this wind, who knows, right? So I want you to choose. You're either doing right nostril breath using any finger of your right hand to block the left nostril and simply inhaling and exhaling through the right side only, or you're doing straight Kapalabhati through both nostrils, or you're doing the advanced version and combining the two and doing Kapalabhati through your right nostril only. I'm going to leave it up to you. Choose wisely, but really focus on a big, bright, yellow, burning sun as you're doing whichever breath you've chosen to do. So let's take a deep breath in through both nostrils, just in case you're doing a single nostril breath. Exhale completely through both nostrils, and then you decide Surya Vedana through the right nostril, Kapalabhati through both, or Kapalabhati through the right side. Off you go. Whatever breath you are doing, you can stop that now. Just pause for a moment. Notice how you're feeling. You should be energized. You should be relaxed. You should be feeling very loved by the universe, knowing that it gives you every breath you get. Bring your palms together in front of your heart. Just take a moment in gratitude for the breath that you're being given right now, for all the breaths you've ever had in your life, and there have been many, and for all the breaths that are yet to come. Much, much gratitude for these things, for the beautiful full moon that will be here tonight, for the sun that rises every morning. We have so many things to be grateful for. Take one more huge inhale through your nose, big sigh through the mouth. Palms to the forehead, just reminding us to be present. Palms to the lips, reminding us to speak our truth. Palms to the heart, reminding us to keep our hearts open, to always be kind, compassionate, and loving. Thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you get to see the eclipse tonight. Namaste.